What's up, everybody? It is Ulysses Owens Jr., and I'm here with From the Drummer's Perspective. So fortunate on the show to have some of the greatest drummers, I think, on the planet, and specifically drummers that obviously have their roots in jazz, but have spanned so many various genres. So I'm really excited. I love working with Open Studio. I've been very fortunate to have 3 courses with them, many of them which you can just go right to Open Studio's website and check them out. But also, I want to admonish you, many of you that had an opportunity to know about the show, please go to the YouTube page and check out the previous interviews, because one of the cool things about Open Studio is that they made all of this stuff available online literally the minute that we finished the interview. And we've had really wonderful drummers like Nasheet Waits and Lewis Nash and Billy Drummond, and really just wonderful drummers. And I think what our goal at Open Studio, when they first approached me about it, was we want to make sure that not only are you getting a chance to have to learn from great drummers, but you're also getting a chance to make your own playing better. And I think that is in a lot of the interviews and how I structured them and the questions that I ask, they are very much about how do you get better, or what are those things that I wish someone told me years ago when I was living in Florida, trying to figure this thing out, and even still figuring this thing out. So please continue to check out Open Studio, as they're a great resource. Today's drummer is somebody who I have to say is probably arguably one of the greatest influences in my jazz drumming career. For many that may not know, I started out playing in church, but it was probably around the time I was about 16 that I got hip to a drummer named Philly Joe Jones, thanks to John Riley. And then after that, I started checking out like all the records that were being made in jazz during that time in the 90s, and a lot of them were Verve and Blue Note records, and this drummer was on just about probably 70% of those records. And 2 drummers made me want to move to New York and play. One is Lewis Nash, which we've already had on. The second is this guy who's coming on, Greg Hutchinson. He literally is the reason why I play jazz drums. Every time I hit a 12-inch tom and it's tuned a little tight, I think of Hutch. Every time I'm playing Zildjian cymbals, I think of Hutch. I, pursued Yamaha drums like crazy because of Hutch. I mean, he has been kind of that North Star for me in terms of not only is he a great drummer in the tradition of jazz, but he's moved beyond that and can play funk, hip hop, anything. And beyond that, he's also been incredibly supportive. I remember when I first started working with some great musicians, and he called me up and was like, "Hey man, I hear what you're doing. I'm proud of you." So I really now consider him like a big brother, and I'm pinching myself that I even get to talk to this guy and call him a friend. And I love him dearly, and I think he has the best hands, best ride cymbal beat, one of the most just versatile drummers on the planet, and incredible human being. So please put your virtual fingers and hands together for my dear brother, the great Gregory Hutchinson.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, everybody out there? Hey, man.
What's up, dude?
That's a hell of an intro, brother. Wow.
It's true.
Wow.
It's true.
But Hutch, you know what, though, man? It's like we said the last time we got together, man. It's a community that we all share. So it doesn't matter when you come into it. I look at us all as brothers. So that's honor definitely to be here with you, and it's great to see you, man. Like I used to say, I know you for a while, and you are on your game, so stay on your game. But that's the brotherhood we got, man.
Right. So. I appreciate it, man. Well, so Hutch, it's funny. I kind of have a format.
I'm sorry, man. Wait.
Okay.
I got that lady in the back, man. That's just not working. I'm sorry, man. That's just cold. What is this, man? Y'all know better than that. What is this mess, man? Shoot.
So anyway, this is how this interview's going to go. So normally I have a format, but Hutch, because of just the love I have for you, man, and I think just our vibe, I'm just going to kind of go all over the place, man. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is I've had Eric Harlan on and Nate Smith on, and they all talk about Betty Carter. I want to start off with your experience with Betty and how that shaped your playing as a drummer and as a musician.
My experience with Betty was great. Betty was a hell of a band leader. She was like a person who demanded perfection every night. And so my first experience was like during a rehearsal. I remember, I came in, I was playing all my slick Philly stuff and everything. And she said, "Stop. What's that?" She said, "Don't do that."
Hmm.
I played with Philly. I played with Mac. I
Woo.
don't do that. So who are you? And that was the first time she said, "All I want to hear is you from now on. Don't play. You know, I hear the influences, but give me you." And that made me start thinking that way. It's like, okay, yeah, we have those influences, but we're not those people. And so that was their lives. How do we represent the music, but represent who we are and our
Mm-hmm.
legacy? Because when you die, you don't want to be people like, well, he sounded like so and so. No, you want that's Ulysses, that's
Hmm.
Hutch,
Mm-hmm.
that's Harlan, that's
Mm-hmm.
Nasheed, that's Blade,
Mm-hmm.
that's Penn, that's whomever,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what
Mm-hmm.
we all strive for. So she really put that in my mind, like always try and do that. Be your own sound, like develop your sound and become the best musician you can be. And she was tough, boy, but we always got along. I never had an issue with Betty at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love the music. She was that. I mean, she was one of a kind for real.
Did you think when you were with her, Hutch, that that would be like the woman who sort of created this institution, like, or was it just, all right, this is
Yeah.
Betty? Did you
No,
you kind of
I
had
knew
a
I had already seen before.
okay?
I mean, you talking about Greg Bandy, Clifford Barbaro. You talking about all these cats that played with Betty.
Wow, wow,
So
wow, wow.
it was already there.
Okay, okay,
And if we just talk about the cast in our like, so before me, Troy Davis,
yeah,
before Troy, uh, Bernard Harper, right?
wow.
Bernard, I think that would be who's in between Bernard and Kenny. Is there someone in between Bernard and Kenny, or is it Kenny?
Wow.
I wonder. I got to check my history. I'm not sure
Okay.
who's in between Bernard and Kenny, but might be Bandy or somebody like that. But all those cats came through there. So
Wow.
Mogru,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Benny Green,
Right.
Stephen Scott,
Yep.
Dwayne
Yep.
Torres, Tariq Shaw, my brother.
Yeah.
I hope I don't get flagged on that. Just joking, Tariq. I'm sorry, man. Sometimes I go left. But the point was, her thing was really, she talked about, stop, brother.
Okay. Hutch.
She,
Stay focused, Hutch. Stay
stop.
focused.
I'm focused. But
Okay.
the thing about Betty was this. She talked about developing strong black men, and that's what her
Mm.
thing was really. That was
So
really
she
what
actually
was.
said that. She actually
Yes,
said that.
yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. No, that man, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And with that said, I kind of, in terms of, because when I think about you and how I hear you and how your playing has really moved me through the years, I know, I heard the stories about you and, Red Rodney, like, you were dealing in high school, but like, Hutch, where did you first, like, for me, it was 16 here in Philly. Like, where did you hear the sound to be like jazz? Because I feel like you hit like when I study a lot of other people, I feel like by the time they get to maybe mid-20s or after college, they kind of get to their thing. You
Yeah.
seem like you were getting to your thing and working like 16, 17 years old. So like, what happened in those formative years, like between 10
New
and
York
15?
City. New York City.
Hmm.
Marvin Smitty Smith,
Talk about
Wade
that.
Barnes, the late great Ray Barnes, rest in peace.
I never even heard of
Uh,
him.
rest Rest in music. He used to teach at a school in Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Conservatory. That's where I went to school also.
Wow.
And even before that, I had a junior high school teacher, Mark Bassan, who was, the first person who taught me how to read music. And
Hmm.
then from Erasmus Hall, Manny Stodiello, and then Justin DeChocho. So I kept getting this music thrown at me. And so it was just really easy to embrace what was going on. At the same time, like, they made me understand like this music is something so special, and like I think I just loved it from the beginning. And so when you have people like that around you, they just push you and push you and push you, and that's what it was.
Wow, wow, wow. So you have this thing with Smitty, which I understand that Smitty was really at that time when he lived in New York, like, and I've even seen a bunch of records. He was like the cat in terms of the top call jazz cat. So can you tell
Yep.
me like what like maybe what's a cool thing he either taught you or that you saw, that can be discussed on record?
No, no, that's great. No, 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 everything is on record. Everything is on record. So his bedroom was opposite my room, my drums, where my drums were. And I'll be playing this corny like and then my corny jazz beat. And one day he just got tired of it. He knocked on my door. He was like, "Hey man, let me hook you up." Like,
Whoa.
stop. And that was the beginning. And then so like he gave me my first syncopation and Jim
Okay.
Chapin stuff. The book that I teach out of now, I think I
Okay.
actually gave it away to a student. That book I had from 12 years old with Smitty. He
Wow.
gave it to me, and I gave it
Wow.
to a student. So, and and that's where and then from him to KW, so
Yeah.
in New York City, it was New York City
Mm.
really that did it for me. Just growing up there and having all those guys around, everybody was there.
Yeah, yeah. But I want to go back to, you talked about with Smitty, him giving you the book. Now, for me, obviously I learned from syncopation, I learned from Will Coxon, but I still always feel, Hutch, like when I listen to you, I don't hear that stuff. So, for those that challenge that system of, why should I check out syncopation? Why should I check out Will Coxon? Like, and we all love you, and I feel like you're one of the most traditional but yet modern drummers. What did that stuff give you that helped you evolve into what we love musically?
Well, I think that it's funny because now I'm doing a lot of teaching out of all those books,
Right.
but I have a different concept on it. And so first, from the standpoint of the sound, what is the sound that we were trying to achieve? And then the movement that is needed to achieve those sounds. So once you understand the sound and the movement, then we start to talk about the rudiments and how those play into it, not the other way around. And
Hmm.
so I get people, I can give you a grouping of rudiments and put them together that will give you the same thing that Wilcoxon will. And
Hmm.
each rudiment, so if I tell you to play a rough, followed by a 5-stroke, followed by a 7-stroke, and now we put the accents on the downbeat of each rudiment, but then we move the accents. So the first
Hmm.
rudiment, the downbeat accent, second rudiment, move the accent to the second beat, third rudiment, move the accent to the third beat. And you keep moving them. It'll come up with all Wilcoxon. That's all it is. It's groupings. It's groupings. Everything. And
Wow.
so when you understand it's groupings, and then forget about groupings though, it's sound. What is the
Hmm.
sound? So whatever you can hear a sound and then figure out how do I achieve that sound? Like what is it going to take? So then you can pick from okay, I put this rudiment with this one with this, but you got to understand the rudiments though. So then you can put it all, and then you can, and that way it allows you to be free. You're not conditioned to be like, I got to do this to achieve this sound and this. No, no, no.
Right.
We don't. Everyone all the dudes who study with me from, especially over the pandemic, I got some dudes, I
Hmm.
got some guys, and they all picked up on the system, which was just that. Like, and I don't need at a certain point. I don't teach you right, left, right, left. If you understand that, then we can go another way. But if I need to show you that, I'm going to show you that in a way that makes you understand the bigger picture. So the rudiment is just a sound. It's just
Hmm.
merely a tool to get to a bigger sound.
Hmm.
But cats get caught up on the rudiments and make that the sound. That's not the sound. That's not the sound. So, and I had some of our friends coming to me like, "Yo, hook me up, bro. Like, what's that?" And I'm like, "This
Yeah.
is all it is, man. It's concepts. That's all." And this is what I like to say: everyone at a certain level can play the drums. Everything that we can talk about, like cats coming, "Hey, Hutch, man, yo, my dude's like, yo, Hutch, I want to hook you. Maybe play you for a lesson." No, man, you might do it. I'm not going to charge you for a lesson. First of all,
Yeah.
let's just talk concepts. That's all.
Hmm.
And let me hear what you're saying, and then hear what I'm saying, and then we find a way that you might want to check out. That's all it is.
Hmm.
Because you guys, y'all all play. Y'all don't need to be like left, right. You
Yeah.
got that all, man. No,
Yeah.
conceptually though, let's see where each other's coming from and how we can like. You might say something that triggers something in me. Go, wow, wait a minute. Let me think about this a different way.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so that's all it is. But that's for, I guess you could say that's for the more advanced levels. So we're trying to get that to all levels. So that's what I'm trying to work on now.
Wow. And so what would you say then, Hutch, is the baseline? Like if we were looking at, these different drummers, no matter where they are in their career or if they're working, whatever, what is the baseline that a drummer should understand, particularly if they want to play this music? Is it hands? Is it feet coordination, like what are those, 3 to 4 bullet points that you think we all need to be tuned into to consider ourselves part of this tradition?
Well, I think the biggest thing is really your ears, the sound, um, the respect for the music from the standpoint that you check out what the music has been, the history of it, and then from there, I think they're willing to have adventure, to not be
Mm.
perfect, to be. It's okay to make mistakes, but mistakes, how you correct them, often turn into great moments. So that's
Mm.
the difference between A level, B level, and C level. C level, they don't know how.
Ah.
There's no clue. B level, they kind of understand how to deal with it. A level can take a mistake and make it a great moment. And those are the cats you always
Wow,
see.
Hutch.
So that's what it is. But we all have A moment levels in us. And so you just have to believe
Wow.
that and strive to achieve this by just being truthful. Like if you don't check out the music, how are you going to play it? It's
Wow.
just that simple. So you don't have to be an encyclopedia of the shit. No, excuse my French. But you just have to want to know as much as you can and be the best that you can. Like we are all different. So why are we don't compete with each other? Once cats understand this, it'll be so much better. Like I'm not compete with nobody. You're not compete with nobody. You are
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
I am me. Everybody's their own person. But if you just strive on being the best you can be, that will be crazy.
Right.
Because
Right.
we push each
Right.
other. We push each other.
Right. Right.
I see the
Right.
videos you putting up there. I see what you putting up there. I seen the Tom Solo video. I saw that. I don't always comment because everybody's always commenting.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need
Yeah.
to comment for you to know that
Yeah.
there's some bad stuff
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
already know how I feel. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's how I feel. It's like, yeah, put it
Yeah.
up there, brother. I already know
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's for the
Yeah.
people who don't know. But
Right.
I already know what it is. So,
Right. Right.
but if we move this way, then the movement just gets better and better and better. And so that's kind of what I think, to talk about what you need to have and just be humble. Like I don't know half of everything or nothing.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know half of everything or nothing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
still learning, man, and we still evolve. And that's the beauty and the joy of what we do, man. It's like it's always a challenge from day to day.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. So, for me, the 1990s were really that period where I almost felt like every day a new record was coming out that was from your generation, that Young Lions generation. Can you
Yes,
just,
sir.
give us, those of us that weren't around in that space, what was it like? Those is particularly, maybe
Oof.
92 to like 99, whatever, but just
Uh,
give us a brief clue into what, because I know y'all were getting, a lot of you guys were getting signed to record deals. Y'all were in the studio all the time. You were
yeah,
also touring a lot. I know that was a hot decade for Japan.
that was hot.
Japan was going
Yep,
through a
Japan was
resurgence. So
killing.
so can you just give us an insight into that? Because I feel like that was the rise of you, or excuse me, Blade, and Bill
Yep,
Stewart. I feel like you all really came into another
yep,
level of prominence. Even her, I feel like Harlan's thing came
yeah.
like kind of later, like
At the
into,
end of
but I
that,
feel like
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That's at
But
the
so
end of
anyway,
it.
just
That's
any of that you want to share with
well.
us.
It's wonderful because like I was watching Bill Stewart, which is now Smoke.
Oh
So
wow.
Bill Stewart, when I heard Bill Stewart the first time, I said, "Oh." I'm like, uh-oh. I was like, this dude is killing. But Emac
Mm-hmm.
also. Emac was playing with Jesse
Mm.
Davis. So it was like a lot of just inspiration around. And I was playing with Roy.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, I feel like the music was being put forth in a way that like all these young cats were kind of coming forth, still respecting the tradition, but bringing it in a different way also. And it was like, yeah, and this was the resurgence. So we got to thank, Winton and those and Branford
Right.
and those cats for the resurgence. And we took it on the next level. And shoot, I was making records like this is when we were making records all the time. But I mean, we stayed in the studio with Roy all the time with everybody. So I got a chance to make some classic records during that period that
Yeah.
changed my life. And I'm appreciative of those opportunities. So that was a great time. But it's I also like to say I think there's still many great times ahead. The younger generation is
Mm,
doing their thing, and it's kind of nice to see that cats are playing the music. But yeah, the '90s were like I posted on Instagram the other day. There's nothing for me. That's like you can't really. That's pretty hard for me, like to say. Okay, that's Winton,
mm-hmm,
Branford.
mm-hmm.
I mean, just all the bands. There were the difference is there were bands.
Yeah, yeah.
So cats had bands. So
Mm-hmm.
you got to hear a sound evolve.
Mm,
That's the difference. Cats had bands, and so we all evolved in terms of playing the music and the sound. Josh had a band. Roy, Nicholas, Mark
yeah,
Whitfield, everybody
right.
had a band, and so I think that's really an incredible thing, and I'm glad I was able to be part of that period. But I'm also glad that the '90s came and went, also because like, yeah, we only as good as what we do today. So
Right, right. No,
that's it.
that's interesting. You talk about the bands because I feel like that is definitely how I started tracking with you. You know, like I think I
Mhm.
first heard you on the Family record with Roy because you and Kareem split
Woo.
that record. And then I started tracking, with the Josh
Riggins.
Redmond stuff. Riggins, right? But you still owe me that episode with you and him together. Uh,
Let's go, man.
I
Let's
know.
track him down. He's harder than me to get tracked down. I'm like,
I know.
Rig,
I've
what's up,
been
Rig?
trying,
So no, no,
but
he
anyway,
would love to do it. Actually, I did send him a message about it, so he's down.
okay, cool. So we'll figure that out. But anyway, I feel like just you have this ability, Hutch, that I feel like as I started tracking you, even the first Christian McBride record I heard was A Family Affair, and we talked about that record before. And I just feel like you step into the music, giving the music everything it needs, but it's still like that's Hutch. like how do you do that? Because I feel like some people,
Yeah, yeah,
they play the music beautifully, but sometimes they disappear into the music. I feel like from your first beat, it's like that is
yeah.
Gregory Hutchinson. Like, and so that to me,
That's
I feel like
Betty.
it's touch. I mean, yeah, I feel like it's touch. Is I keep wanting to go deeper into that because I know like you always say, oh man, well it's us and me. I'm just trying to be me or whatever. But like, let's go deeper into that. Like, is that because I feel like
Okay, well,
your
you give
rim
me
shot.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
Let's
because you
go.
got it's like
Let's
your
go.
rim shot,
Let's
bro.
go.
Your rim
Let's go.
shot, the way you play roughs, your singles, the way you go from the toms, also the way you hit the cymbal. Like, was there ever like a conscious thing of like I'm gonna
Yeah,
do this and that? Come on, Hutch, give me the goods.
exactly. No, that's what it is. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So it's always been that I used to sit. I used to sit in a room and literally like understand each drum and the dynamic of each drum and the sound of how I should achieve going from one drum to the next drum, and the movement of that. And so because I'm naturally left-handed,
What? I
I
didn't know
have
that.
I yeah, man. So that's what it is. That's what make yeah, exactly. Shh, don't tell no, but that gave me a way. But see, it's also an advantage and a curse. So, but we play the rise move right-handed.
Whoa, Hutch.
So my right hand is actually the stronger hand. So what I started doing over the pandemic was addressing that I'm left-handed. So let me start a lot of more left-hand lead. That's what changed over this thing. But I always sat in, so when I was studying with Smitty and was studying with Kenny, we always talked about the touch uh, and accents and how those are so important, and the dotting the I's and crossing the T's and really being precise in what you play. So it was always about being precise. It's funny. I had a conversation with Kenny one day. He said, "You know what I'm gonna call you?" I said, "What's up?" He said, "I'm gonna call you Crispy Brown." I said, "Crispy Brown."
It's accurate.
I said, "What is this?" And he said, "Man, that's what it is." I said, "Wow, yeah, okay. I might have to come up with another name, but I like it. Okay." But it's just the same way that I study with Smitty and Kenny, like, and Justin also, that they really made me understand everything has to be heard and clean.
Hmm.
And so I just really got fanatical about that. Like, I would make up my own practice regimen in terms of the rudiments and how I played them. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what made me come up with the stuff that I have today. And so it's like
Mm-hmm.
some of the same things that we learn as kids, actually, when we go back and we think about it and we reapply it, it's actually some bad stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the I teach the very same way that. So this to answer some of what you're saying is the very first time I hit the drums, I had no idea what anything was. So
Mm-hmm.
I played with a freeness that allowed me to just hit anything. I didn't know. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now the problem becomes when we understand, we start to become we do this. I'm saying don't do that. Do this open with the knowledge of how to do it. So
Mm-hmm.
each drum has a place it wants to be hit. Each drum has a range
Hmm.
it wants to be tuned in. You have to
Wow.
understand all that stuff. Um, and then you have to understand the different woods of the drums you're dealing with and what that how that affects the sound. And then also the cymbals. You know, if you're playing in trio, if you're playing in quartet, if you're playing big band, the same cymbals don't work. You can't do that. So you have to understand all that stuff. And then we can start to talk about like, okay, well, how are you going to apply these paradiddle diddles or whatever you want to work on? But the point is, whatever you're like, whatever you've learned in terms of playing the rudiments and stuff like that, be the master of that.
Mm.
Like master what you know and then learn more and master
Mm.
that. If you try
Mm.
and take on too much, you can't do anything. So I'm still learning now because I do it that way. So I'm just like, okay, what am I concentrating on now? I'm concentrating on this. Let me try and master that. And when I say master, I say just get it as best as you can because there's,
Mm-hmm.
master is a hard thing to really,
Mm-hmm.
I think we all vulnerable. So masters are, I don't like to throw that around at all. I think we just all try and do our best as human beings and players of the music. But with that,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't understand how to dot that I and cross that T, is not going to work. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
understand how to play the ride cymbal, walk the dog, we talk about it all day. If you don't understand how that works, and the one thing I'll lastly say is like I don't teach in this conventional way of. I have a lot of students that go, "Oh, Hutch, is that dotted 16th or a triplet?" I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what, man? When I was sitting down with AT and Ken and
Whew.
Art Blake, Max, they wasn't talking about that. That's some stuff the universities invented.
Wow.
That's not what it is. So when we play that soul blues,
Yeah.
ding, boom, ding,
Yeah.
bang, mm, 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 I'm not.
Woo.
I'm not thinking that, man. I'm thinking. Listen, I have my beat. The bass player has his beat. From the first beat, we need to find the same beat.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when we do, even if sometimes it's a fraction off, that's what makes it soulful. We're not
Mm-hmm.
metronomes.
Mm-hmm.
Long as the time don't move, we're good. And
Yeah.
slowly we will get to the same thing together. So I don't need to be sick. No, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even when I teach how to chapin, it messes people up. They're like, man, but it says I'm like, don't read the top line. Chapin just took stuff that the cats played and put it in this book. But
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
if you want to apply it properly, apply your natural ride cymbal beat. Why would you apply something that's not you to learn an exercise? Doesn't make
Wow.
sense.
Wow. Man, I love it because I'm glad you broke that down because you have an organic connection to the kid and don't take this as an insult, but I mean it reminds
No.
me of growing up in church because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like like a lot of gospel drummers,
Mm-hmm.
whether we could talk technique later, but what I
Mm-hmm.
love about gospel drummers and growing up in the church is that these cats all have a very like beautiful like organic relationship with the kit. Like when they play
Yeah.
it, it's a part of them, and I see that in your playing. You were one of the first jazz drummers that I saw that especially when you start biting that bottom lip. And
Oh
you
man.
go it's like you have the connection, so it's really cool to hear how you really made that happen in your shed time. With that said, you also Hutch were one of the rare drummers that lived in New York in a time when obviously Kenny Washington, who's still with us. Blakey was around. Billy Higgins was around. Roy was, at his peak. Elvin was around. A.T. Max. Like you caught. Like I got there in 2001. You
Mhm.
grew up in this, so can you maybe
Yeah.
give us little nuggets, man? Maybe from whether it's Blakey, you mentioned
Ooh.
At, you mentioned Max, like because I was talking in the sheet and he told me some cool stuff that Max laid on him. So I would love to know any nuggets that you can recount, and even from drummers that
Oh yeah.
that we haven't even talked about that are out there that really were on the scene. Because I know there were some cats playing
Oh,
that
there was a lot.
left New
Yeah,
York. Even like
yeah,
Smitty left
yeah,
New York and stuff.
yeah.
So anyway, like I
I
think
mean,
Ronnie Barrage was doing his
Ronnie
thing.
Barrage
So
is one of my dudes.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
Ronnie Barrage, the Jimmy Lovelace.
yeah. Oh man, that's a bad cat.
There, Doug Sides was the guy
Never heard of him.
Doug Sides was, oof, Lord. I met him when I was like maybe 14, and I used to go to this place called Avenue A. It was a jam session, and Doug Sides played. This guy, he was incredible. I mean, he was like Philly.
Wow.
Like, I mean, literally like Philly. Like he had all the taste and the touch. But yeah, all the cats were around, and I got a chance to see them and talk to them. Tony would come to town, Elvin, everybody. So always in the vanguard, always sitting right there on the right side, I guess, up against the on the bench,
Yeah.
I should say, and
The
just
drum bench.
the drum bench, man, and right there in the front. Tony playing, I'm right there. I want to hear all that
Hold
shit.
on,
Like, I
Tony.
want.
That's right. You were
Oh
there with
man,
Tony too.
I got cassettes, man. Oh, are you crazy? What?
So come on, Hutch. What they tell you? Because I know they love your playing.
Tony was like, well, I was seeing Tony at first, but he didn't get to know my playing until
Okay.
much later when we opened for the Miles Davis band, and that's when we had
What?
our first for the Miles Davis tribute band, excuse me, and we had our
Wow.
first encounter, and I got to play first, and young Hutch, we ain't taking no prisoners, so of course, and he was looking through the peephole, and he saw everything. Then uh, next day they wheeled the drums out, and he played like a solo, just obliterated everything I played. And then we played in San Fran with Roy, and he came out like 2 nights, and we got a chance to hang and speak. And the funny thing was, like, right when before he passed away, he was calling me, asking me, "Yo, Hutch, who should I get? I wanted to get a new band. I want to go back to playing small drums."
What?
Yep. And that
So
was the
that is true because
conversation.
I've heard those rumors.
Yeah, that's the conversation we was having. That's Tony. That's Elvin. Same thing. Elvin, met him the first time in the Blue Note. He shook my hand. Almost broke my hand. I'm like, oh boy. And we got to know each other. Blakey, I used to hang with Blakey all the time. Blakey and AT in New York.
Okay, give us a story. Come on, Hutch.
Oh,
Give.
me and AT used to hang. I mean, hang. We can't talk about that, but we used to hang. And he said, "Yeah, boy." AT said, "Yeah, boy. That ride symbol. I hear you." I said, "Yeah, that's it, sir." Because AT cock his head to
Yeah,
the side.
yeah, yeah.
Ting, 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 ting,
Eee.
ting. That shit. Woo, Lord. And Blakey, I used to see Blakey all the time. And, at that point, Blakey's hearing was gone, but there'd be some nights where you'd be like, wow, like where the universe lined up and you could hear everything, and it'd just be amazing. Like, wow. So all those guys were around, just,
What?
I think, just the ability to talk to them and to just like get little nuggets of like, yo, why don't you try this, or you should do
Mm-hmm.
this, or
Mm-hmm.
don't do that,
Mm-hmm.
and just always caring and checking on you to see how you were doing. Like, really,
Yeah,
the camaraderie was there, man. You know what I'm saying? So I
yeah.
appreciate. There's no Hutch, without those legends.
What about Billy Higgins? Did you ever get
Oh,
spend some
Billy
time
was
with?
my dude, man. When I moved to LA, for sure.
Wow,
So rest in peace,
wow,
Mr.
wow.
Higgins. Great. We had a super connection, and we.
Mm-hmm.
He could, young man, young man. He starts smiling like this every shit, and
Wow.
we had some real talk. Some stuff I just get some stuff that we can't even really
Of
put out
course, of
there. Like,
course.
just it's just too just knowing the man, and knowing how incredible he was.
Yeah.
Just make. I would just say, make everyone. You have to make sure you make the right moves all the time. not only when you're younger, but respect your body for
Wow.
as you get older, your body can react in a certain way, and that's what happened to Mr.
Right.
Higgins.
Wow.
You know,
Well,
so
so I love that. I want to shift, Hutch, and talk about your career. You have, because I hate that whole jazz adage of like, oh, they play with everybody. I think that's great, but I think not only have you played with everybody, but you have made a specific statement with everyone. So do you want to, maybe share one, because our audience, as you know, Open Studio, because you got a bunch of courses with them.
mhm.
Um, what are some key things that have helped you build your career? Yes, you play your butt off. Yeah, you're good hang and all that, but there are definitely things like, for instance, I would love to hear you talk about how do you learn someone's music, because I feel like, they always say, show up on time, play your butt off, learn people's music, but that is a very broad statement. So, how have you
Yeah, it
gone
sure is.
from all these different people you work with and continue to work with, and whether it's Diane or whomever, you learn the hell out of their music. So maybe
Yeah.
talk about your career, talk about
It's-
those career building techniques as well.
I think the career in terms of the music is always the music that you like and that you enjoy. You will be kind of you will move towards that, and then also as sometimes things come up that you just never expected, and you have to be prepared. But in terms of playing with different, I think some of the things that stand out for me, like playing with Betty and playing with the Joe Henderson and Ray Browns and Diane's and Josh and Harry Kai. Just everyone actually has been an
Mm,
experience, and the ability to learn music is really easy because I just like music. So you just
mm,
gotta listen. I
mm,
don't listen to music to be like, how am I going to learn this? I just listen to music to learn, to
mm,
understand and enjoy it.
mm,
If I want to be on that gig, that means that I must enjoy the music. So then, if you take that away, you're able to learn faster. So then I have a method.
mm.
If you bring me, if you bring me 10 tunes, and I got 30 days to learn 10 tunes, well, do the math. We divide that.
Ah,
That's it. And then we start from the hardest tune first. I don't ballads. I don't
yeah.
spend time on ballads. I spend time just to listen to the melodies. We
Okay.
don't spend time on ballads.
Okay.
And the other thing, we start from the hardest tune first.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's the math. If you bring me 7 tunes and I got 7 days, well, a tune a day,
And
and
are
that's
you
the only thing I'm listening to all day.
okay? And
That's
what about,
it.
and with the and also
No charts.
yeah, because I want to clarify that, like,
No
because for
charts.
instance, I get that question from drummers all the time. So you're just, so for you, you're internalizing the music, and you're
Yeah.
not, so even if it's a chart gig, like for instance, let's say it's a Billy Childs, you're still not
Oh no,
gonna
no,
look
I'm
at a
learning.
chart.
I'm learning all. I'm trying to learn all that by heart, and then I look at the chart
Yes,
afterwards.
yes,
Then I look
yes,
at this afterwards because I got to
yes,
do this. I got to interact
yeah,
with this. I
yeah.
can't, this is one thing, but if I'm doing this, I'm looking to the left the whole night. And Billy's on
Wow.
my right.
Right. Yeah, Hutch.
So if I memorize, and so that takes big, you got to develop those ears. So your mind has to always be able to take you to the hardest point and work back from that.
Woo.
I don't want to know the easiest. You don't need to play me anything in 4/4. No, with Billy. No, I don't need that. I got that. Let's go to the other stuff and
Yeah.
start backwards from there. And that's how you do it. So if I'm listening, I'll listen to the same song all day, over and over and over and over and over all day. That's all I'm hearing in the house. That's it. Nothing else. No TV, nothing else. So by the
Just getting
time
it in there.
I wake up at 7:30. So 8:30 8:30 to about 7 o'clock at night. It's the same thing over and over. But at 8 o'clock at night, I can hum the whole melody and I can hum every part that's in that song. And that's how you learn the part. When I can hum the melody and play everything, then I don't have to worry about okay, this is gonna play itself because I know the song. That's all it is. It's really that simple.
I just want to take a moment and share with the audience. This is priceless, first of all, because I feel like many people go many years, or not understanding how to truly internalize music. And so they wonder
Mm-hmm.
why, why are they calling Hutch and not me? Or why are they calling,
Mm-hmm.
Kareem and not me? And I think that when you call somebody, even for me, when I hire people in my band, I hire
Mm-hmm.
them not just to play the music, but it's their approach to the music.
Yeah,
And what you just described to me is really that
you gotta live with it.
internal. Yeah, you got to live with it. And so what? So married with your sound being Hutch and your internalization of the music, and then just you being who you are, all that is what makes
That's what it
your phone
is.
keep
Yeah.
ringing 30 years later, right?
Like I want to know your tune better than you know your tune.
Yeah, yeah,
So I can come to you and be like, well, why don't you check this out?
yeah, yeah,
So you don't have to come to me and be like, hey man, why don't you try this?
yeah, yeah,
I just want you to I just want you to sit there and be like, wow, I never thought about that.
right,
How did
right,
he hear
right,
that? How did he hear that? And the only way you
yeah,
can be at how did he hear that? I gotta know the
yeah,
tune, the ins and outs. Now,
yeah,
let's be realistic. Out of 100, I say 90%, 92% of the time I can get it done. There's just some situations
yeah, of
that
course.
are just where you have to look at the chart, or there's some situations that you got a lot more music than you have time. So you like
Yeah, that
you
because that's
hope.
that's the next question I'm gonna ask, because I know sometimes you preparing for five. Come on, Hutch, you giving me the open studio answer. I
No, I'm
want.
giving you the right answer, man. No,
I'm messing
man.
with. I'm messing with.
Like,
No, because I know
it
you
takes
also have
it's a
five
lot,
gigs you're
man.
learning. You
It's a
know.
lot. It's a lot. But you know what? Each thing is different. This that I put
Yeah.
myself after being off for a year. I put
Yeah.
myself in that position like last couple of weeks. I did a gig with Near Fielder. With Kurt, I play all the time, so that's cool. But
Yeah.
I had some other stuff. And it was a lot of music, and I was just like, wow, my mind hadn't been thinking that way for a long time.
Yeah.
And you get back to it, and you understand it. And the beauty is, it's okay to make a mistake, man. Like I like that. Like all I need is a little skeleton. I'm cool. If something happens
Yeah.
and I have to react a certain way, like okay, wow. Like
Mm-hmm.
so, we get the music down as best we can. But that's the method I use for learning songs. I think it's really if you just listen to the music and don't have to worry about learning a part. That's why I take that
Yeah.
kind of time. And so if I'm listening all day, I'm the first time I listen to the tune, I just listen to the whole tune. I'm not thinking about drums or nothing else. Second, third, fourth,
Yeah.
same thing. Slowly, I
Yeah.
start to dissect. Okay, let's get into that melody, and then
Yeah.
now let's get into what the bass player is playing. Because with the bass
Yeah.
player, see, if I start listening to the drums, I'm going to play exactly what that drummer played. I
Right.
don't want to
Same.
do that.
Yeah.
I'm listening to
Yeah.
what is
Same.
the bass player playing so that I can start to form my ideas. But then I'm also checking out what the drummer played so I can say,
Yeah.
oh, okay, that's integral to the part. So let me
Yeah.
keep that.
Yeah.
But then at the
Yeah.
same time, let me change it because that's one thing we keep that, and then the next I'll put my thing in there, and that's what makes it. So we always building
Yeah.
off of each other. That's the thing I think people forget. Like you build off of the sound of someone before you, and you change things around, and you come up with your sound.
So with that said, I know we talked about Kenny Washington. You talking about learning music. So I know that he taught you about orchestration. Can you tell me about your vantage point of orchestration on the drums and orchestration between the kit and the music? And you talk so
Mhm.
much about the melody. What are some tips in the same way of how to orchestrate? Because I feel like that is actually becoming a lost art. Just like you talked about earlier with students not really listening to the music, because I feel like drummers now are like, well, how do I get better at swing? I'm like, well, you got to listen to it. So I feel like we're losing the art of
Yeah.
listening, and I feel like we're losing the art of orchestration, which a lot of drum teachers don't teach about orchestration, and particularly in jazz. I feel like that's that upper echelon of players that are on a bunch of records. They talk about it, or they just do it and don't talk about it. So what are your ideas around that?
Well, it's funny you talk about that because I've been really working out of lately the four-way coordination, putting the sound on the drums and making melodic music. That's the thing, not the rudiments on the drums. No, no, man, that's
Mm-hmm.
not going to make it melodic. Because you can play a bunch of rudiments, doesn't make you melodic. No, how do we take those same rudiments but really make them stretch out?
Yeah, yeah,
How do we make them sound a different way?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I have everybody play things forwards and backwards, right hand,
Ah,
left hand lead,
wow, 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 wow. Yeah.
foot lead, hi hat lead,
Hmm.
snare drum lead. So every element, when I teach you, you got to learn how to play the ride cymbal on the snare drum. You got to learn how to play the ride cymbal on the bass drum, the ride
Wow.
cymbal on the hi hat,
Oh,
but
that's
not
good, Hutch.
not this. But I mean,
Wow, Hutch.
this cats will tell you that's what. And I got cats sitting there going, "Uh oh, wow, that's crazy, man." But when you finish it, every limb is respectful of the other, and every limb understands how to operate its own. But at the same time, if every limb, so when we play drums, sometimes we attempt something and we don't necessarily get to the point we thought we would get to. Well, guess what? Then you panic. But no, I don't panic because the other limbs are saying, "I got you," and they can come in and replace that note and give me a chance to recover, as opposed to being like, "Uh oh." No, it never happens. So it's in the mind, it's in how you perceive the instrument around you. So these are the things, this is how you orchestrate, like by not seeing things in one way, but seeing the space around you, the drum set as this my arms are open like this, man. The drum set is not just no. There's so many ways to move. So you can move outward or you can move inward.
Hmm.
That in itself is the butterfly. You see, it comes back to the butterfly. Woo! It's all the butterfly, man. Thank you, Justin. Woo.
Man, so with that said, Hutch, as I listen to you, you've played on all these records, you've done all this stuff, hung with the cats. What still keeps you here, like not being bored with this, and even because I find that a lot of jazz drummers, particularly, they kind of switch gears, which is not a bad thing either. Like like what we Kareem or different people, how they've kind of gone in other directions. So I guess twofold question: one, what still excites you about playing this music, and even the fact that you've played with so many great people, how do you keep your excitement about playing with, say, the younger generation? Because how did you go from Betty to Josh and all these great bands to someone who's equally great, but they're evolving? So, one is how are you still waking up every morning excited about the drums? Two, how do you maintain your motivation for the music, being that you've you've played at Mount Everest many times,
Man, I think that one that I still feel that there's so much to do and learn. Second is like I grew up. My dad played drums, so I grew up loving the drums. So I think the day that I finish playing the drums is the day that I'm not here anymore, and then hopefully my spirit comes back and I can play some more drums or be a drummer.
Yeah, Hutch.
I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that, man. I'm good with that. But that love, man, and you cats, you guys. I mean, why should I stop? Y'all here. Y'all inspiring. Y'all keep me going, and I keep you going.
Mm-hmm.
That's how. Hopefully, that's how we live our lives. That's the camaraderie and the love that we have, that we keep each other going. So, if I stop, I feel like I'm letting everybody down. Can't do that. I mean, so it's a love. It's also kind of feeling like the older cats are gone and they pass this on to me. So I have to pass it on to everybody else, and you pass it on, you pass it on. And this is the legacy of the drums. If we don't keep it going, then what are we doing? And Pridgeon really hit me to that at the beginning of the Instagram, in the beginning of the pandemic. We had an Instagram live. He's like, "Yo, you my OG. I need you to step up and really talk that talk about what's going on." And he really started to talk that talk. I was like, "Wow, okay,
it's true."
It's true though, but sometimes the difference is the older generation had a way about them, and you couldn't really, like, you had to. If Blakey say something to you, what are you gonna say? What am I gonna say? But younger cats, it might be like, if I say something, they might feel a certain way. So it's like, I'm trying to be respectful of everyone, but at the same time, yeah, we do have to hold the music accountable and the way people perceive it and play it. So
wow, Hutch. So what are you looking forward to? Like what are some upcoming projects? Or even if it's not project based, even if it's just because I know you're also developing new drums and you're always playing new stuff. Like what are you excited about coming out?
I switched up. I was trying to come with y'all, man. I was trying to get there, bro. I was trying. It didn't work out.
We're gonna wrap offline.
I don't even know, but I went back to the way I first started with Pearl. With the drum stuff.
Oh, that's why you start posting them drums.
Record, I've been waiting and finally, Yeah, and finally, the album is going to come out, and so I'm really looking forward to doing that and just playing some music, playing some other music, playing some stuff I wrote, and just hoping that we all really get back to just a kind of life that we understood and we love, and not in this turmoil that we find ourselves in. Because I think it's really for a lot of people, it's who are already on the edge. I think it's making them have a hard time, and that's not what it's supposed to be about. We're supposed to really be able to play some music and enjoy each other, and spread the word. That's why I
Yeah.
play music. So, and I know that's why
Yeah.
you do too, because I see you up
Yeah.
there. You know.
I'm trying, man. So hold up, we gotta go back. You just dropped a bombshell, brother, in the drumming community. So you about to be with Pearl? Or you back with Pearl?
I've been with Pearl. Yeah, yeah. I signed with Pearl. Yeah, yeah.
So let's tell me your setup. Tell me what you plan, because I saw you posted something the other day
Oh,
on
that was just some
Instagram.
outside. Yeah, that was just some
Yeah.
stuff in front of
So
Sabina.
so
But
tell us about that, man. Tell us about what you know
oh,
that.
I'm waiting for these drums now. I'm waiting for. Thank you, Pearl. Thank you, John. Um,
They
but
make great
yeah,
drums, man.
some Masterworks, and
Okay.
thank you, Dennis. Dennis was like, "Yeah, what's up?" So went back home. But that's where I first started. That was my first endorsement, and even before the Yamaha endorsement. So
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, I had those Z drums that they weren't making for anybody except my dude from Living Color. Oh shoot, he's
Will
gonna kill me.
Calhoun.
Will, what's up? Will had the Z drums, and then I got them to cut those shells into jazz size drums. So, but it was cool, man. I think one as long as you play an instrument that's makes you feel good, and much love to Tama. Also, thank you for the look. That explanation was a little weird, but it's cool. Good drums is good drums, and I think that's the important thing. And project wise, my album, man, like I'm really looking forward to getting out there. And the drums that I came up with, well, I need that to be I need you to see when that comes, because it's kind of crazy. I went back to like a 12 by, oh wait, is it 12? Hold on. 14, yeah, no, 16 by 12 bass drum.
Really? This is like for everything?
No, just for the straight ahead shit. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
So,
instead of
excuse
18
me.
wide, why?
Um, because I had a guy here who restored some old Gretsch drums for me, and that was the size of the bass drum, and he showed me an old set of Elvins, and I was like, woof. And so when I talked to the guy at Pearl, he was like, oh yeah, and this is funny when you talk to someone at a drum company and they actually know Elvin, and he was like, oh man, I used to go see Elvin in New York all the time. I was like, oh, can we do this? He was like, yeah, we can do that, sure. So they designed it for me, and it's crazy, crazy. It's so
Interesting, because
yeah,
man,
yeah,
because Tama, they got some line that they just released a 16-inch bass drum, and I think the measurements are similar. And I was like, man, I would love
you
to
should check
mess
it out,
around with a
man. Yeah,
16. So
it's 16 by 12. It's kind of slick.
ah,
It's like that. You still get it. You still get what you need. Yeah, you still, and it's a lot easier to carry around. But it sounds great actually, and it's the control that you have over it. In the, I haven't recorded. I actually did some recording at home with it with my mics, and I found that the control was actually a little bit better than the 18. Now, of course, if you're trying to bang out on it, it's not going to give you. You're not trying to
yeah,
play some
yeah,
backbeat. It's not going to give you what you need.
yeah,
But it's nice. It's really nice actually. And look, you packing up a 16 by 12.
yeah. Well, it's
So
interesting you're talking about, because and I think that the depth has a lot to do with it. I've not
yes,
messed around a lot with anything on the 12-inch side,
yeah, yeah,
regarding depth. So it's interesting you say that it kind of focuses more, because I will say I played like a 16 by, I think may even been 16 by 16.
yeah.
And I
Different,
loved it.
right?
It was
Yeah, it's
something,
nice, man.
but it was something about the tone. And in a weird way, it gives you a little bit of bottom in.
It makes you play differently too, though,
It
right?
does. It does. It
It's
sings. It
different
really
than an
sings.
18. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man. It
Yeah.
sings, man. See,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's it. And so the 12, when you hit the 12, man, you get all of that. You get this punch though. Like I went back and I watched some Elvin. I found a couple of videos where Elvin playing that drum, a Gretsch drum, and
Man,
I
you
was
gotta
like,
send me some
wow.
clips.
Yeah, I'll send it to you, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so I was like, okay, let's go with that. And then the bigger drums are bigger drums, but the finish is, oh, okay. I'm just gonna post them. But the problem is we're in a pandemic era, so everything going to Europe is it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, when are you expected to get your drums?
hopefully in the next we in almost September, October. And I signed a little while ago, but it's all good, man. We've been in touch, and they're doing their best. I know. I appreciate the look, man. It's crazy. So, but it's all good because everything good is worth waiting for. So when they get it,
So
when I get those drums, I'll play and to make me start hearing sound a different way.
yeah, exactly. So can you tell me this, Hutch? Because you and I both, you get students who want to talk the endorsement game. What is what is expected on both sides? When should a drummer be thinking about endorsements? Um, you know, yeah, I'll just leave that there. Because I mean,
I,
because it
I'm
seems like
gonna
you
move you to
started.
where my battery won't go out on you
That's
here.
cool. Because I also feel like you started the endorsement game early on. I mean, I remember
Yeah.
looking at Modern Drummer magazine and seeing only a few jazz drummers, and it really was you, Terry Lynn,
Yep. All
Carl
Yamaha.
Allen, and then Peter Erskine, and then Jeff Hamilton was kind of starting to be in the magazine. I mean, he's all over them now, but
Yep.
but yeah. So like, tell me about that sort of that piece of what should we be thinking about endorsements, but how did you get into that? Because as you know, the jazz community is very anti. Man, you just play whatever. So yeah, share it with us, bro.
I mean, first I would say just build your resume before you go
Mm,
asking for anything. Like that's the first thing. Like make it so that people understand who you are, and that's the bottom line right there. Like, and then love the product that you are going to try and endorse. Like, don't just do it just because you can do it and get free shit stuff. Excuse me.
right.
Like, really want to do it. And so I've only been and the moves I've made. It's funny. I was thinking about the other day. I was with Pearl, and I went to Yamaha because Steve Ellison was there, and he was a friend of mine. So I stayed at Yamaha 20 years, and I brought all the younger cats at the Yamaha.
So that
So
was you
after
that bought
that,
that. So that was you that bought all those
yeah,
cats
man.
over.
After it was put Steve Ellison and Joe Testa together. Oh boy, Joe Testa. Thank you, Hoggy. And so, but from there, I left that and went to Sockeye because
Right.
Azo started Sockeye, and Azo was part of Yamaha, so we went there. But unfortunately, when you come into the drum business, if you come in with high end drums, it's kind of hard to like maintain at some point. So after that, I went to Gretsch because I always loved Gretsch.
I
And then
love you on
after
Gretsch,
that,
bro.
it was like, yeah, I loved the Gretsch. The Gretsch was killing. The Gretsch was killing, man. And the thing was like, just some stuff that went on there. I forget what it was. I think somebody left, and I was like, oh man, that wasn't what I was thinking. So went over and hung out with my boy Russ Miller. He was like, well, Mapex is getting these Little Island drums. Thank you, Russ Miller. Thank you, everybody at Mapex. Went there. Um, and the only problem was like just trying to find that line of drums around the world was kind of difficult. So I just said, okay, I need to find something that I really, really like and love and can be accessible and that I can also grow with. And so it brought me back to Pearl. So that's kind of the way. But I couldn't do any of that if I didn't have the resume.
So
And you
that
got to
speaks
have the
to
resume.
patience, just
That's
patience,
it.
right?
Yeah, just build your resume, and if they bring you in on a deal where you got to pay, you got to pay. That's it.
Yo,
It's different than what.
I'm gonna let you go soon, but you talk about that because you got a lot of
Oh
drummers
man,
who feel that, well, if they're gonna get signed, they should be just immediately getting free stuff, but
no
the
shoot. I
pay to
mean,
play
when I
thing is
came
real,
in,
right?
I never paid for any drums ever. Not from day one. But that was Steve Ellison. It's Steve Ellison brought me in a way that was like, okay, just hook him up, whatever he wants. And so it proceed. Once one person hooks you that way, it stays that way. So, but the cats coming in now, drum companies have changed because they lost a lot
Yeah,
of money. So
right,
they're not going to do that. So if you're doing some top end pop gig, guess what? They're going to give you all the drums you want.
right.
But if you're doing some other stuff, probably more like what we do, and you're not
Yeah.
established, well, you got to come in at a certain point. But if you build your resume, all those things come. So patience, patenza, as we say. Yeah, a lot of patience and things happen. And it's actually kind of nice, like when you have to build and show people
Yeah.
this is why you should be hooking me up,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
and then you arrive at that point when they understand, then you're good, man.
Right,
But if you're
right.
pushy it goes the other way.
Yeah, yeah, and
So
I've had a lot of students who, even now with me being at Tama,
yeah,
I have one student who's always like, man, hook me up, and I'm like, bro, like, first of all, by the time I got to Tama, I had already, like you, been with three
yeah,
companies, and
yeah,
Peter Erskine called Tama for me. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
even and I was like, dude, you're not ready. He's like, no, man, well, I'm ready. I was like, no, you're not. I was like, because here's the thing: if you're really ready, somebody, it may not be one of the bigger companies, but
They'll
someone
find
will
you.
come after you. They'll find
They'll
you.
find.
You know what I
They'll
mean? Because
find.
now I remember when I was 16 and I wanted to be like you and be at Yamaha. And I mean, I couldn't get anybody to do anything. And then when I was 20 or so and didn't really have gigs, couldn't get anybody to do anything. All of a sudden, by the time I was out on the road with McBride and stuff, Cass was hitting me up. Hey, man,
Yeah,
we see you're coming to LA. Let us know if, you know what I mean? So,
yeah,
so to your
exactly.
point about patience and,
That's right.
it's at a certain point, you will get them when you no longer need them. Like, nah, I'm sure me and you, we don't even have room to store half of this stuff.
I get rid of it, man. Yeah, I got so much
You know
stuff,
what I
man,
mean?
and it's
So it's
like,
like,
but I got rid
yeah.
of a lot of stuff because I helped design these new drums that are coming, and so
You gonna show us a
uh,
picture?
I know. No, not
Okay.
yet. Because
Okay,
now
cool.
the only reason I'm not going to show you pictures because I want what comes in the picture to be
Yeah.
accurate.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense.
Wait,
Cool.
that's not what I heard.
Yeah.
So that's cool. No,
No,
but they're
cool.
actually natural finish, but just the
Yeah.
wood and just the sound of them.
Nice.
So we'll see. But when you get new drums, I haven't been with Pearl for a long time, so new drums make you play a new way. So we're gonna
Yeah.
have a filling out period, but after that, for the other music I'm doing, it's gonna be incredible. So I'm really looking forward to that. But
Cool.
at the same time, it's I'm a collector, so I like I
Yeah.
got my old Gretsch at home, and
Yeah.
we play all those old drums too. So
Cool, man. Well, Hutch, I just want to thank you, man,
thank you,
for
brother.
coming on, man. I
Oh,
appreciate you
sorry
for.
if my thing here was a little.
No, man, it's
This
cool. We
I was about to say it's Italy, but it's Slovenia, so I don't. The connection could
no.
be, but I don't think
Europe
my
is always
connection.
kind of funny to me. So, but man, you dropped some nuggets, bro, and I just appreciate you again for being a big brother to me, man, and always
My
having my
pleasure,
back.
man.
So,
Anytime, man.
I
You one of
appreciate
those
you.
cats. You came up a long way, and you've been playing, and you're always humble to them. So keep doing, keep reaching, keep experimenting, keep and keep being yourself, brother. And I
Thank
think
you.
if you do that, we all can feel good.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, Hutch.
Yes, sir.
So, thank you, man. So, I just
Yeah.
want to,
All right,
all right,
brother.
bro. I see you, man. All right, cool. So that was a wonderful moment. I just want to leave you all with a couple of nuggets that I think Hutch really touched on. One was really make sure when you're listening to music, and this is for even the non-drummers out there, really make sure that you make and take the time to internalize that music. Obviously we all have charts, or for most of this music, particularly if you're not learning things from a head chart, but you've got music. But I think the ability to be able to just listen, so that when you do sit down to play, it's just such an easy ebb and flow. Another thing that I love that that Hutch talked about was really making sure that we listen to the tradition to learn and get better at the tradition. And many times I've experienced a lot of students who want to get better at even something simple as like a ride cymbal beat. And I always ask the question, and I'll poll it even here, or pose it even here, is how much time are you listening to swing every day? And they'll say, oh, well, I listen to, maybe 30, 40 minutes. Well, if you want your beat to sound like a Billy Higgins or Greg Hutchinson or Art Taylor, who lived their life for this music, and you're only listening to maybe one of them 30 minutes a day, it's going to be very hard for you to reach that goal. So make sure you really take the time to study the tradition. And as you study and it gets into, the ears and into, your body and all that, it will flow through the instrument. And then the last piece that I really, really love that he talked about, and I've had to learn this the tough way, and that is patience. As he says, Potenza in Italy. But it's true that if you make the music your highest pursuit, and you make it the thing that matters the most to you, and not necessarily the other accoutrement or things that come with it, but really the music is all that you want, all those other amazing things will be added unto you. So thank y'all for tuning in. I'm going to leave you with a snippet of a song that was probably one of the most paramount recordings of Gregory Hutchinson that really helped me, and that was Josh Redmond's Beyond album, which focuses on a lot of odd time signatures. And that album features Josh Redmond as obviously the band leader, and composed a lot of stuff on the record, as well as Aaron Goldberg on piano, Ruben Rogers, open studio artist. And also Greg Hutchinson, open studio artist. So thank y'all so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week.